live.
We're live. Are we live?
I hope
Yes.
we're live.
Yes, we are. 7 seconds.
Let's see if the sound is from the right mic. It should be.
Should be.
All right. Let's see if anyone shows up.
Okay. So, what are we going to talk about in our live stream today?
Whatever they ask us.
Well, we have to start with a topic.
Well, we made 10,000 subscribers.
Yes, so we made 10,000 subs. So thank you guys for watching. It's been a lot of fun, and we never expected to really take YouTube this seriously. So it's been fun having a purpose to keep making these videos. We have 5 people.
5 people already?
Yeah, look at right there.
Huh.
It's our first time going live. We don't really know what's going on, so we're trying to figure this out as we are supposedly live already.
So hi everyone, thanks for joining early. So let's see. We thought of a Q&A format, so if anyone has questions, please send them in the chat. Until then, yeah, we just hit 10,000 subscribers, so we thought we'll try a Q&A and see what people think they want to ask us. And also, as preparation for a video we're going to record after this, which will talk about our channel, basically.
And actually, we hit 10,000 subscribers like right before New Year's, so right before 2020, which was just amazing timing. So that was really cool. Thank you to those last people that helped us make that push over at 10,000.
That's right. It was New Year's Eve, some like 6-7 hours left, and we met our goal for the year, which we had 2 goals last year. One was 10,000 subscribers, and the other one was what was that? 1 million views. And that one we beat pretty easily. We got to 1.6 million for the year. Yeah, so that was great. Views turn out to be easier than subscribers.
Yeah, well, sort of. So to monetize, if you guys don't already know, there is that requirement of you need to have 1,000 subscribers, but also 4,000 hours of watch time. So both are actually really, really tough to do. Hello, Luis.
Our first
Thanks
comment.
for saying hi. Yeah.
Yes, thanks. Good afternoon. It is afternoon here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're based in Seattle. If you guys don't know, we make it pretty obvious. So this is Pacific Standard Time. And we're in our studio, quote unquote, but we haven't actually started building it.
And hello to Gord Rock.
Yes, the winner.
Yeah, the winner of our giveaway. I'm glad you got, so he just got the Avanti accessories. So hopefully you're having a good time with those and they help you make better GoPro videos.
And I actually watched the wood turning channel. It was very technical and it looks very difficult. I'm impressed. It's hard work. The first video was all math. Hi to Benjamin.
From the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were just there.
Yeah, I was there in the summer. On our travel channel, there's going to be a lot of content coming out from Amsterdam soon, I hope. Yeah, we have a serious backlog. We don't say this normally, but we've actually recorded at least 50 videos. A lot of them are travel videos this year, and we have so much to release.
So we got our first question from Matthew Wong. What's your favorite camera? That's like the hardest question.
I think right now it's pretty slanted towards the GoPro if you look at it from the point of view of what we use the most. But that is for our own stuff. When we shoot for clients, we use our mirrorless exclusively almost, right?
And actually, we're going to make an announcement, but the X-T4 for Fujifilm is supposedly on its way. It's going to be announced in early February. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to buy a new camera this soon, but apparently we're probably going to go all in with that X-T4 when that comes out. So.
Yeah, I'm going to buy the X-T4 because it will have IBIS and it will be a Fuji. So for me, my favorite camera is any high-end Fuji mirrorless with IBIS, which currently is only the X-H1. And that's what I shoot with when it's about clients. But when we're going traveling and vlogging and whatnot, we like the GoPro the most right now because it serves as the continuity of the storytelling. So, and which was really, for over a year, it was the missing piece in our videos. We didn't know how to make a cohesive story until we got a GoPro.
And for me, I'm actually going to throw in a little curveball. This is the Nikon Z50, which I've been shooting with for almost a month now. And so I'm about to, I think after this, we're going to record a couple more videos. So I'm going to do a little video about this camera, because I've surprisingly really liked this camera, even though I'm not keeping it. So I have to return it on Monday. So before then, we'll make a little video about it. So this is my current favorite camera.
Yeah, overall, Suzy is more versatile and trying out new brands and new cameras, and I stick to my favorites, which right now are Fujifilm and GoPro, and I have a Mavic drone, which I really, really like. Now we have Around the World says hi from Texas. Austin, you've been there a few times,
I
right?
have. I love Austin. I've only been there for South by Southwest though, so I need to go there when it's not a festival. I feel like it'd be totally different.
And you go to South by Southwest tour as a photographer.
Yeah,
right?
I used to. I went like 3 years in a row to go to the music section of South by Southwest, and it's just amazing. I love it.
And that's, by the way, how Suzy started her business as a concert photographer.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking this. I want to do, we've done a lot of videos about gear, but we want to shift it and talk more about how we use that gear or how we both got started with photography or how we make money with it. So hopefully in 2020, well, not hopefully, like definitely, we're going to have more videos talking about concert photography and yeah, what we actually do with these cameras other than talk about them.
Yeah, if you guys are interested right now, we can go into that. Let's see these questions. What are your expectations of the GoPro modules? Do you think it will be your go-to vlogging setup? My expectations are high. I think it will be, but hard to say.
So I don't know if you guys saw that little post, but the Media Mod is officially available for pre-order. So we put in our pre-order. We're not sure when it's going to come, but I'm assuming it should ship by the end of January. So hopefully by February, we should have that and be able to test it out. So yeah, I also have high expectations, but I think I'm also like kind of in the middle because I feel like GoPro really needs to do well with this. Because they have DJI coming after them with that little Osmo Action, and now Insta360 has that really amazing little 360 cam, which looks also like a module camera, which I'm really interested in as well. So they have a lot of competition, so they have to do really well with these modules.
And that was the follow-up question by Benjamin Tang. What do you think of the new Insta? We think it's a great idea. However, nobody has shown any footage, which is make or break. So we shall have to see that part. About DJI, we have DJI Osmo Pocket, and we use that quite a bit, but we don't use it as kind of a normal action cam or anything like stabilizer we walk around with. We mostly or almost entirely use it for moving time lapses and pans, because actually the GoPro beats the Osmo Pocket for walking around and shooting continuously. The Pocket is kind of a specialized device. We're going to have to talk about it. And another thing that stopped us from buying the Osmo Action was that their profiles are over sharpened. Too much digital sharpening is not good for vlogging, honestly. Your face looks too contrasted and detailed with them.
And I think the stability looks pretty good on the Osmo Action, but on the GoPro, it is so good. Like Hyper Smooth is just like knocking it out of the park. Like the second version of Hyper Smooth is just really, really good. So the Osmo Action it looks like a decent camera, but GoPro, I think, just has a bit of an edge right now in terms of quality. Yeah,
the 8 in particular, we love it right now. We will have to do a review very soon on the 8 now that we know what it's like. So we have a question around the world. Advice for newbie, how to get comfortable vlogging in public. Well,
you're better at this. I still am not comfortable doing it.
I speak publicly, so for me it's easy. You should talk about this because you were pretty anxious.
I was anxious to even do this live stream. So yeah, I think it depends on where you're doing it. You know, like you don't want to necessarily be in a super crowded spot to start with. I would just start somewhere with less people because it's less intimidating that way. And for me, the hardest part is just to keep going, because I can say like a quick sentence, but to keep it flowing is really hard because then you start looking around you, you notice that people are staring at you because they are. And so a lot of it actually is really similar to photography for me because I do a lot of event photography where it's the same thing. I have to be in front of a crowd, shooting directly at a crowd, even though I'm not speaking, but I have to get audience reactions. And so you just kind of get used to that feeling of knowing that people are staring at you, but you have a job to do. You have to get your shot, you have to do your vlog. So it's kind of like this mental switch in your head that you have to just be like, I know that people are staring at me, but I can't think about that. I just have to stay on topic. So I think having a clear purpose or having a clear topic and just sticking to it really helps you. But really, it's just practice. You just have to do it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get.
Yeah, doing it a lot helps. For me, I don't mind. I speak at conferences for my company. So I love speaking in public. I don't care at all for what people think. That's the goal. Yeah. You don't care what anyone thinks.
It's true, yeah.
Just get in your own zone. So another question here. Hello from Dallas. I really had, it's not a question, that's a compliment. Thank you to Awesome BitBoy. We're glad people are watching us in Texas. We actually really want to go to Texas and visit a lot of cities there.
Yeah, we haven't been together. I think we've both been separately. So
I've been to Dallas actually, yeah. And we hear it's growing a lot. People are moving there a lot. We have friends there, and we need to go and visit Texas for sure. Beatrice one, I think, says, congrats on 10K. Thank you very much. And subscribers are so hard to get right now, especially when, you know, all the top channels get all the viewers. That's just how the internet works. It's always about small amount of people at the top and a long tail. So the fight for subscribers is extremely competitive.
Oh, your mom's here.
Your mom. Hi, mom. All the way from Bulgaria, my mom is watching at very late hours too. Our biggest fan, I have to say.
Yeah. And greetings from the Philippines. Ooh, we have not been to the Philippines yet.
No, my brother went though.
Yeah, your brother is.
He loved it, especially the islands and the beaches where there are not many people, but he said the beaches are just fantastic.
But something about Filipino food is that here in Seattle, there's like a Filipino food boom. So if any of you are interested in Filipino food, we have lots of great restaurants right now here in Seattle. So a little plug for the Philippines and Filipino food.
Yes, indeed. We love it. So we have a question here. Any tips for someone who wants to start on YouTube?
Just do it.
Yes, number one, do it as soon as possible because the ramp up is difficult. And two, you should not have a high quality bar. Put out stuff and don't judge yourself harshly, because it is much more valuable that you get your stuff in front of people than to try to perfect it on your own.
Yeah, and I think you're going to learn a lot while you're doing. And if you look at a lot of other YouTubers, you'll see that too. If you look at their very first videos, they're not so great, but you see a progression. And so almost everybody, like once you start on YouTube, like you learn really quickly what you need to work on. And there are tons of tutorials on YouTube or other platforms that help you improve whatever it is that you need to work on.
Yeah, as far as making it big on YouTube, the top advice is do what's in demand, because otherwise you'll feel like voice in the desert and it's depressing. And we'll talk a bit about that, how at first we experiment and try many things and see what takes off. And for us, camera talk turned out to take off.
That wasn't even intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of an accident, actually.
Yeah.
So we tried many things. And when we started talking about our cameras, all of a sudden we have 10,000 of views. And that was like, whoa, this actually works. So we for the last year, 2019, we almost entirely focused on that for this channel, and we ended up splitting out our channels. So the other one is more freeform and experimental right now, and travel-based documentaries and so on. But this one now is focused on what works, because that's really what's going to get you to get that exponential growth that you need if you want to sustain your effort.
So along those lines, when you do start YouTube, like, start it, but then there's also a lot of analytics. So YouTube is one of the best platforms that gives you lots of insight into what's doing well, what people are watching, how long they're watching it for. So, you know, just try a bunch of different topics, look at the analytics, and just see how people are responding and adjust your content strategy based on that.
Right. All right. I have another question. What will your next video be about? What's yours?
Z50.
The Z50 Nikon. Mine is going to be on our other channel, and it's going to be about 10 things I like and 10 things I dislike about San Diego on Gemini Discover. Here we have many thanks for your wise advice from, do you know this? You've been to Spain?
Ceuta, Spanish town in Northern Africa. No. So I studied abroad in Granada in southern Spain almost over 10 years ago. I'm dating myself now. But yeah, we went down to Morocco. So that's about as far into Africa as I've been.
It's fascinating to see where people are watching us from.
Yeah, it's more diverse than I expected.
Yeah. So the next question is a little off topic, but what's your favorite country to photograph? How about you?
Oh, that's so tough. Favorite country? Oh, you know what? I actually have to say Bulgaria, because I've had the privilege of going to Bulgaria a lot because you're from there, and I didn't know anything about Bulgaria until I started going. And it's like every time we've gone somewhere completely different, and it's just been beyond my expectations and been really fun to photograph. Not only because it's really pretty, but I have a personal connection. So
Bulgaria is a small country with a lot of diversity and a lot of things to see. So many photographers in particular have liked it. Personally, for me, there are two countries that kind of contend: Japan and Italy. Japan was the first place I did travel photography in 2009, I think. and it's just a paradise for photographers. It's incredible, and all the cameras come from Japan.
True.
Italy was where we went on a honeymoon, and I back then was only doing photography, and after that we transitioned to video. So Italy is probably the last place I did hardcore photography before moving on.
I have to say something about Italy in that I was kind of stupid. I only did phone photography there because I had my Samsung Galaxy S8, and that's where we started doing video. But I was so enamored with that phone that I only took like phone photos. Looking back, I barely did any actual photography with my camera that I had.
You know, two things about that. I did pretty good photography for both of us.
You did,
and
thankfully.
two, because of your stuff with your phone, the videos you took is what made us take off our channel.
Yeah.
Because we realized that phones even are so good nowadays, they should stabilize 4K, that you can actually walk around and start producing video. So that phone actually opened our eyes to how far video technology has come along, because we actually always wanted to do video. I tried it with Nikon, I think it was a D7000 or something, and everything was amazing, except when I take a step, the whole thing rocks like this. And I gave up for a long time. And we did some video for clients in Belize. We shot a lot, and we didn't know what to do because you're only static and it's hard to tell a story. So after we caught on to phones and GoPros and all this stuff and mirrorless with IBIS, our video took off. All right, next question.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, from Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for great content. I'm trying to learn this. Well, we are self-taught and nothing stops you from learning. However, we both do have 10 years of photography commercially. So that really helps. Yeah, we'll do a video of how photography helps your videography, because that's how it went for us, right?
Yeah. And in fact, we started watching this show on Disney Plus last night, Hostile Planet, with Bear Grylls as the host, and it's shot by National Geographic. But we were both like, you know, if you look at every scene, it's like a moving photograph. So we kind of were like, you know what, I bet these people filming it have a photography background, because each frame was just like a photograph, but it was moving. So it was really cool. You could see the influence of photography and how they filmed it.
Right. And photography is much easier to learn because it's composition and exposition, and you're both done. In video, there's so much more. So it's easier stone to step on first. Let's see here. Hopefully we're not missing anything. There's questions. Another compliment by Martin Smith. Thank you very much. Yes, we're pretty happy with 10,000. We met our goal on the last day.
We did.
We have a question from Asian. Is it necessary to buy a best and expensive gadget in order to start a vlog, or any mid-range or cheap items to start one?
I think I'm going to address that when I talk about this camera, because this Nikon Z50 is actually a beginner camera. And so, but there's nothing wrong with starting with a beginner camera. If you are a beginner, you know, these cameras are made to help you out so that they're not, you know, fully manual, and you can actually just pick it up and get started shooting with it. So I would say that definitely just start with whatever you have. And if you are a beginner, yeah, again, these beginner cameras are actually going to help you out more because they have like little helpers.
And I think that beginner cameras are in fact easier to use, and you have easier time. More professional gear has a higher barrier to entry with the skill set, and it can be actually less useful to you. If you go and get a Red camera, for example, and shoots RAW and everything, you'll have so much learning curve before you produce anything.
And they're expensive.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, beginner cameras are cheaper, they're more accessible, they're easier to use. So yeah, again, I'm going to say a little more about that when I talk about this camera in the next video. Yeah,
you're better off starting with lower gradient than upgrading. Now we have another question. Awesome Beat Boy. What was the name of the travel page so I can sub?
Gemini Discover. So yeah, we just started that channel a few months ago, and we really did that because we noticed that for Gemini Connect, it was all of the tech and camera videos that were resonating more with you guys. And so we wanted to kind of keep it focused on that. And so all of our travel content, we have some travel content still on Gemini Connect, but the newer stuff is going to go on the new channel. Yeah, that's right. It will be seeing a lot of effort in this year. We have new goals for the year, and one of them is to monetize the travel channel. So everyone, please subscribe. And another question here. Thank you for sharing advice. One channel for experimentations and create a new channel for that works. Yeah, we think so. Yeah, we're happy with that because we can experiment with formats. Gemini Connect is the name of our company and was the default name of our first channel. And now we're making a spin-off. But what's becoming of it is interesting because you did this in the past, right? You
he had a blog where he teach people how to do a photography business, and also you write for both digital photography and DP review. And now you're applying this to YouTube pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And so, yeah, I think we've both noticed that just like there's a big niche for camera and gear photography, or camera and gear subjects. And so, yeah, our channel for Gemini Connect is going to really focus on that going forward.
Another question here. Are you still using the X-H1? Yes, I'm using it all the time. Whenever I need to shoot something that I really care for the image quality, it's always X-H1. And we have an X-T3 as well, but it does not have IBIS. So I prefer, because I only shoot handheld almost. When we do professional photo shoots, if one shot is constant and requires an audio track to be on, we use the X-T3 on a tripod, and then I use the X-H1 handheld to go in and out of details and things like that, or an alternative angle. We just shot food show.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. So we're working with this local restaurant here in Seattle, and they have a YouTube channel. They just started it. It's called Saigon Siblings. And we just did a cooking video for them. It's a 2-part video. So on Monday, the second part of that video is coming out. And we'll maybe do a separate video on our channel talking more about the behind the scenes of how we filmed that, because that was X-T3 and X-H1. And I had the X-T3 on a tripod, and you were going in and out with the X-H1 doing the detail shots.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll talk more about those videos going forward. But that's a really good example of how we paired those 2 cameras and shot what I think is a pretty great food show.
I like it. It was cool. And we shot a wedding last year.
Same setup. Yep.
And then we shot the company retreat.
Right? Yeah. We got flown to Chicago by this company here in Seattle, and I've been doing event photography for them. But this year they were like, "Hey, you mentioned that you do video. Any chance that you and your husband want to come and do video for us?" And so, yeah, we got to go to Chicago. And unfortunately, that video is private. We're not allowed to share that anywhere. But we had a lot of fun filming that with, again, X-H1 and X-T3.
Yeah. So you did photos and I did video. And I had both Fujifilms on 2 straps, right? And a zoom and a wide. So you alternate. And that was the biggest job we've ever done.
Biggest job, biggest paycheck. It was really great for last year.
Yeah, and a travel experience too. We have a question from William Berg. Any tips on lights for still and moving people? Boy, big topic.
Oh gosh, lights.
Well, talk about how you shoot your event photography, right? You always need.
Well, photography lights are a little different than video lights, because for photography, like I'm using like a strobe or a speed light, and those just give you like one big burst of light. And so that's a lot easier. For video, you can't do that. It's going to be really flash, or, it's going to interrupt your shot. So for video, you need a continuous light. Like right here, we actually have a continuous light filling us in this way. So, that's a tough one. We have a lot of lights. We haven't done a lot of videos on lights.
No, we should do more. Yeah, we have at first we started with continuous LED light by Manfrotto. It's about this big, and it can do warm and cold light, and it's a good battery. Manfrotto is good at this, so we like that. As soon as we moved to GoPros, we got a Lume Cube lately, and the Lume Cube is pretty powerful for how small it is. It's like this if it's in your pocket. I don't like to mix my lights too much, but when it gets dark, the GoPro is entirely useless unless you do have an extra light. So yeah, look at Lume Cube if you're looking at small, or Manfrotto, and some Chinese competitor came out. We have another one, right?
Yeah, we have another small one. I don't know if I can leave links here, but maybe I'll leave a link to that one. Because it's a small little light, and it was really great because you can control not only the power but the color temperature. So you can go a little yellow, a little blue. So that was actually a really great little light, and I still have that. Yeah,
mainly portable LED lights have come a long way in the last few years. So look for something like that. We have here. I started watching your videos last summer and I learned so much. Your communication style is approachable and easy to understand. Don't ever be afraid to dumb it down.
That is actually a struggle, but that's something that I've learned by writing for digital photography school in particular, because I've been writing for them for almost 7 years now. And when I first started, the first article I submitted, they told me that. They're like, you're too technical. You need to think of like a beginner, like think about your mom. Try to explain this to your mom, like break it down that way. So that is always a good reference point for me, is if I'm explaining it to my parents. And so that really helps me break it down and try to be less technical and, try to think of it from their perspective.
Yeah, it's actually pretty challenging. Sometimes you get criticized for being basic, and these people come with some really high expectations where you must be like a complete professor or something on the subject of photography or gear. Other people simply want to know what to do when they first take their camera out. We find that people who have been into something a long time are a lot in their head, and they are not as nice, to be honest. They are always critical, but it's always filtered through their perspective. While beginners are very nice, and they come with, they call it beginner's mind, which is a concept from Zen. And it's a helpful thing, because if you have the beginner mindset, you're a lot more open and nice, and you're more able to take in new things.
Mm-hmm.
We have here, for those who are watching this live stream, don't forget to hit the like, just
Yes.
for good vibes. Yes,
Thank you.
We have another question. Do you spend a lot of time in post for your vlogs?
Lately, no. I would say when we first started, and you can look at some of our earlier videos on the Gemini Connect channel, we were trying to figure out the style. So a lot of like that Hawaii video that we did in 4K, like almost a year ago, that one was, not quite a vlog, but that one we did actually put a lot of work into. But that was kind of when we realized that's like a lot of B-roll, and it's like cinematic. It's pretty video, but there's no story. There's no like narrator. There's no reason to continue watching it after the first few seconds. And so as a result, we've kind of flipped to this new approach where and it was because of the GoPro, being able to use the GoPro to vlog, and that we really just use the GoPro to shoot like most of our vlogs. And then we put in some of that pretty cinematic B-roll. But, the GoPro footage looks so great at a camera that we don't need to spend a lot of time in post-production.
It's true. It's when you're shooting something which is chronological and you have one camera, it's very easy to cut in post. So it would be like a quick edit in 2 hours, right? Now, if you're talking multiple cameras, color grading, and all these things, stabilization, sometimes you need to run algorithms and whatnot. At that point, it adds up. But lately, we try to get the type of tool which does a lot for you in camera. And that's a big reason we use both GoPro and Fujifilm, because they go a really long way in camera. And when you take it to your station, it's actually much easier.
Yeah, and I think that for me anyway, that I've realized this shift as well for vlogs being a little bit more organic, and they don't have to be perfect. It's actually almost a disadvantage if they're too perfect, because if they're, more organic, more in the moment, they have slight flaws in them. They just feel more real. They don't feel so staged. And so, yeah, we're not spending a whole lot of time in post-production on vlogs these days.
For the sake of YouTube, YouTube people like raw. Well, if you shoot for a client, they want perfection.
It's not going to be a vlog if you're shooting for a client.
Yeah, when you edited the wedding, it took a long time, right?
Oh, God, yeah, that took forever.
Yeah,
that was long.
Yeah, that was hard, because it's their special day and it's like a huge fuss.
That was like a 45-minute video.
Yeah.
The longest one I've ever made.
Which took, 16 hours to shoot, and we had 4 locations, this crazy stuff.
It took a long time.
Yeah, so in a way, YouTube is kind of a relaxed way of making videos. But we do both. Some of them we cannot post because we get paid to give them to other people, and we work on them much harder. We have another question. Can we link the cooking channel? Yes, we can. Let's see if I can do this. So you answer the next question. I'm going to link the channel.
Okay.
Hi, guys. I just came in. If I say video camera, which one is in your mind?
If I say video camera, which first model is in your mind? Ooh. I would actually say like camcorder. I think we're watching a lot of vloggers these days, and we kind of realized that a lot of them are still using camcorders. And if we had first started video using camcorders, there it is. Saigon Siblings Restaurant Group. That's the name of their channel. But yeah, you probably have to leave a link to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna link here.
You can just do that one.
So here's the link to the channel where our food video is going to come out on Monday.
You can go back real quick. But the video, part 1 is how to make bun bo hoi, Vietnamese soup at Ba Bar. That's the first video, and the second video is coming out on Monday.
Yeah, the one where he's chopping vegetables and doing the prep for the soup. That's the first video we shot for the Vietnamese restaurant here.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty successful chain here. So
yeah, back to when I say video camera, which model comes to mind? And yeah, I would say just camcorder, because we notice a lot of our favorite vloggers are using camcorders and have been for a long time. And, we both met on the premise of doing video. So we kind of kick ourselves and we're like, hey, if we realized the camcorders were really good back in the day, we could have started this a lot sooner.
Yeah, we made a bit of a mistake because we had been into photography for a long time. And, 10 years back, photographs were amazing quality already. And when you have that in your perspective, like an amazing, shiny photograph, and then you take a little video camera and you're like, it doesn't look good. So we actually tried a GoPro in 2012, a GoPro Hero 2. And we looked at it and we were like, holy shit, it's horrible looking.
I still have it, in fact, but I hate it.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And then the other thing was like, we didn't know how to stabilize shaky footage, and that deterred us from actually doing video. So what we should have done is actually get a actual real camcorder and shot with that. So maybe sometimes it's best to look into something like a specialized thing, because we've been shooting hybrid the entire time, right?
That's true. And we had to wait for hybrid cameras to be refined to where they are right now. And it has taken up until the past couple of years for hybrid cameras to get good.
That's right. We have both of you work full-time, question, and still have time to do 2 YouTube channels. What are the secrets? Big topic. So let's break that down. I do work full-time for a tech giant in Seattle. It's easy to guess which one. So for me, this is a night and weekend thing. And that's why you're seeing a lot more involvement from Susie, especially in the tech channel. And you?
For me, it's a little bit easier because I do photography, but yeah, it is unrelated to a lot of the YouTube content that we're putting out there. So right now, like we're trying to put out 1 video a week. And I feel like for both of us, that's been a good pace. And yeah, I'm basically just doing that in my free time. And right now I actually do have a lot of free time because January is a little bit light for photography. So I'm taking advantage of winter time and trying to use all my spare time to do that. But normally, yeah, in the summertime, we just get bogged down, which is why we have such a big backlog, because certain seasons I have time to do these videos, but other times I don't. And we just have been backed up in terms of making videos and trying to keep our day jobs going.
Yeah.
So it's been tough.
We get backlogged really badly. So when it's slow at our jobs and your business, it's okay. Then we can do a lot quickly, right? Sometimes 4 or 5 videos a week. But we get to these points where we just are slammed and we cannot do it as much as we want. What is our secret? I think is we really like doing it. That's the only thing that makes you actually spend the time. And it's so much learning that unless you love it, you're not going to commit.
I think, it's the fact that we enjoy it, but we also do it together. So it counts as together time.
That's true. Yeah, if we also had to balance family time in addition to all that, it actually wouldn't work, right? So when we go out to enjoy a day out, a weekend or something, we're shooting, and that's more fun to us than sitting around, truly. Or I don't know, we don't drink. That's another thing. Like I like a little wine, but that's about it. We don't waste much time, I guess. Yeah.
So if we're not working on our jobs or working on YouTube, is kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah, today was a struggle though, because it was whether we go skiing or we do video. And I thought it was going to be bad weather, but the weather turned out fine. So I actually wish we went skiing.
Well, I heard it was a blizzard up there. They said don't go up there. So
there is a storm warning. So maybe we did the right thing. But if we had gone skiing, we would have been doing a lot of GoPro footage with the Hero 8, which would have been awesome. But yeah, it's a lot of work. We basically both have 2 jobs.
We missed one above there.
Oh, really?
You have a sentimental attachment to your old equipment. I do.
You do, yeah. And I don't
really
at
do.
all. I like to sell them right away. And I wish she would sell them. She keeps like 7 cameras and it drives me crazy. Because we moved to a bigger house because we maxed the other one. There was no room for gear anymore. And now we're building a studio. So that was an incentive. We had to actually switch our house.
Well, it's not only because of gear. So, and I'll make a separate video about this as well, about why I have so many cameras. And I'd say it's partially sentimental attachment, but also just like they're old. And it's going to be harder to get a good price for them, which is probably why I should have sold them a while ago.
Yes, indeed.
But, it's because I don't have a good replacement. So, I'm waiting for Canon mirrorless cameras to get better. And I really think that's coming. I feel like 2020, there are some really good cameras that are going to come out on the EOS R line. And so I need to wait and see if they're going to be good enough to help me get rid of my DSLRs, because I do really want to get rid of them, and I will probably end up selling them. So if any of you guys have interest in a 5D Mark III and a 6D, they will eventually be up for sale.
Where is here? We are in Seattle.
We're in Seattle.
That was answered. Let's see. Next question. Best camera for shooting POV porn. We have not tried, so I don't
we
know.
haven't tried, but GoPro's waterproof. So if you can get good lighting, GoPro.
Or a camcorder.
Yeah.
You could do it admin to delete the trolls. Yeah, that is true.
That is true.
Oh yeah, so I guess this is our first live stream, but you can assign admins to clean up the chat. We don't have that much of a need right now yet, but when it gets to that, we'll do that.
Yeah.
For sure. Thanks for the tip. What are our goals for YouTube? Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh boy. To keep it going, for sure. So yeah, we did not start this YouTube channel thinking we were going to be serious about it at all. There was no plan. It was just a place to put our videos because we were making videos. We're like, we want people to see them. Where should we put them? So YouTube just made a lot of sense.
Let's backtrack a bit. We started the channel because we have a client in Belize.
True.
So in 2012, we had to go to Belize and work with the client. And we wanted to shoot video. And we did indeed shoot video. But we did so little with it because we didn't know how, to be honest.
Yeah.
So 2012, we made the channel. We put just a few videos up.
They're still there. So if you backtrack to the very beginning of our channel, you see some videos from Belize.
Yeah, and then we had a 4-year break.
Yeah.
Until 2017, when we went on a honeymoon, and you realize that you can shoot video now.
Mm-hmm. So from that point of when we got serious about posting, it wasn't to grow this channel. It wasn't, we didn't have any goals. We didn't know that this was going to be a thing. But to be honest, we've made money on YouTube. And so we will, after this, we're actually going to film a separate video talking more in depth about that. But that was unexpected. We thought, we'll make $5 a month on YouTube. And it's actually ended up being more than that. And so there's been some financial incentive, if we're completely honest, to help us keep going. So for that reason, and because we really enjoy it, and I think we found a good niche, and we have people like you guys to actually watch our videos, we are going to, keep going ahead in the new year. So
the first time or the first year, like 2018, it was to learn. Like we did YouTube to learn to make videos because we had both had the goal of making documentaries one day. And then after we learned some technical skill, it became about growing it, right? We wanted to monetize it, which we did in 2018. And then in 2019, we wanted to hit 10,000 and 1 million views. Those were the goals for last year, which we both hit. And for this year, we actually switched our goals up a little bit, so they're not exactly based on growth. The number one goal is to get you close to doing it full-time. Mm-hmm. And so, which is growth-based, but it's actually has a business approach to it. Like we're not looking exactly at the view metrics and sub metrics. We want you to be able to dedicate to it so that you can push it with all your time and energy, right? At some point, because the other thing is I do like photography, and that is my full-time job, and it's my business. Like I have a photography business, so I will keep that going. That's not gonna go away anytime soon, but I've already been scaling down on my photography business to put more time into YouTube, and so we'll see just how that balance is going to be going forward. But yeah, we're going to keep going down that path. Yeah, the other goal we have this year is to build out our home studio. We have a new space, but there's a lot of echo in here. So we need to soundproof a room, which requires building out a wall and so on. So we have a construction project and a studio project. And that's also why our backgrounds have been really varied. We're just kind of, right now we're working in our dining room downstairs, which I think is doing all right. But yeah, we do want a dedicated space to film because whenever we do film, it's taking me, I've been timing it. It takes me about 40 minutes just to set up the lights, set up the camera, get the angle going, and then I have to break it all down. So we want a dedicated space where we don't have to do all of that, where we can just sit down and film. And so that's what we're going to keep working on this year. Yeah, that will be huge for being productive so that hopefully after that's done, we can at any time have an idea, sit down and film it. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be huge. Number 3 goal is to monetize the travel channel, which we just started about 2 months ago. And travel is extremely difficult. It's like so much competition, and like there's a big question: why would anyone watch your vacation? So yeah, which is a fair question, honestly. Yeah. However, we travel a lot. We don't only travel on vacation. Like last year, we went to 10 places each, something like that. We haven't done the full tally, but yeah, it was a lot. More than we initially thought. And we end up with a lot of footage from those trips, and we feel like there's a lot to release from there. And we've always wanted to run sort of a travel documentary show. We have, funny enough, Rick Steves in our city, who's been kind of a local legend here. And it's actually motivating and inspiring to see how you can make a living simply by going places and documenting the amazingness there. And then you can live that lifestyle. So if we can do that as a second career and lifestyle, why not? So we're quite determined to push the travel channel forward, even though travel channels are notoriously difficult. Good question. What do we have next? Are you guys going to get the new X-T4 and whatever is going to be called? Yes, I'm buying that immediately as soon as it's on pre-order, because she has the X-T3 and X-T3 is very good looking. Like the footage is just amazing and does not have IBIS, so I cannot shoot as well handheld as I do with the X-H1. So I have to buy it, and then I'm going to sell both my X-H1 and my X Pro 2.
Well, okay, yeah, there's some debate about what we're going to do here, because I do feel like since the X-H1 has IBIS, that we should keep the X-H1. And we will keep it for a little bit because we want to do comparisons for our YouTube channel between all those cameras. So they won't be up for sale immediately, but I think definitely the X Pro 2 is going to go. We're going to sell that one.
Yeah.
And eventually the X-T3. But yeah, the X-H1, we have to wait and see what they do with that whole line, to be honest. Because we don't know if there's going to be an X-H2. And yeah, we don't know.
I'm going to make a video about how much Fujifilm is screwing up their product releases.
I was so mad when I saw that there's already an X-T3 replacement. I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I just bought that camera.
Yeah, first they screwed over the X-H1 by releasing X-T3 only 6 months later with a new sensor and a new processor, and it now is much better looking. Even though some people debate that the image quality is not better, it is better, 100%. But anyway, that's a big another debate. So yeah, and now they're like, oh, we're going to release X-T4 only a year and a half after the 3. So all the X-T3 people are pissed off, and all the X-H1 people are pissed off twice now because the 2 is not coming yet again. Yeah, so interesting.
But yes, we are going to get it, whatever it is.
Yes, yes. You guys have awesome GoPro videos. Keep it up. Thank you very much. That was kind of an accident.
Yeah, it was. I think I did it.
You did it? I was in India, and you messaged me that you bought a GoPro.
Oh yeah, when I bought it. Yeah, so I was going up to Vancouver to do an event photography thing. And the day before I left, I was like, hey, I went to our local camera store. My friend was working there. So she was like, oh, you in to buy something? I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the GoPro. So yeah, I ended up buying the GoPro, partially because my friend was there. She kind of talked me into it. And did not film with it very well at first because I didn't know what I was doing. And, you know, that's a tip. If you get a new camera, don't just go on vacation and expect to know how to shoot with it. Like even something like the GoPro, I didn't know how to use it. And I remember like driving and I wanted to get some driving videos, but I was like, I actually don't even know what settings to put this camera on.
The driving is actually why we got the GoPro, because we wanted to film our road trips and we had tried a few ways and nothing was working quite right. And then we went and bought the GoPro because we saw people doing driving videos doing pretty well with them. And that's what started it. And then you made some reviews and they ended up getting over 100,000 views.
Yeah, I made that one video, like the 5 things I dislike and like about the GoPro Hero 7. And that was one of my early videos where I just did it because I just was like, hey, let me just see what happens if I do a review video. And I never expected it to be like, it's like one of our number one.
It is the number one video.
Which is embarrassing because I didn't put a whole lot of effort into that. And, but yeah, it's like still one of our most viewed videos. And so that's the thing about when you start a channel is that you just don't know what's going to take off. And I did not think that video was going to take off at all. And it ended up, yeah, that really kickstarted our GoPro. The reason why we do so much GoPro content, to be honest.
Yeah, and also the YouTube algorithm is a bit peculiar. We do have a video on that topic if you are curious. And once it notices that something that you've talked about does well for you, it will push that content on and on for you. So for us right now, if we talk about a Samsung phone, we get like 1,000 views. If we talk about GoPro, we immediately get 1,000 that day. And then later it gets in the tens of thousands reliably. So for us right now, GoPro is taking off, and Fujifilm was also strong for us the whole time. But that doesn't guarantee that you talk about a new topic like sound or anything else and it will actually take off. So it's the YouTube algorithm pushes you into a small niche. That's how the whole thing works. And also why we had to split out the channels, because at some point we would make a GoPro video and we get tens of thousands of views and we're like, awesome. And then we make a travel video, we work on really hard and then it gets 200 views and you're so mad. So
And it just makes your overall channel look a little flat when you have that fluctuation. So I think GoPro does, for channel evaluation, they like to see consistency in your views and, the engagement. So if you have a video that doesn't do as well as others, and it's because you're off topic, like that was a good indicator for us to be like, we should probably just start a new channel, because that's what GoPro is essentially telling us, or that's what YouTube is telling us to do with the way that our videos are performing.
yeah, that's how that went. YouTube is rather peculiar. It wants consistency, and some have defined that as monotony. So if we talk about GoPro too much, that's why. That's why. Let's see. We have another question. What are your favorite YouTube channels? What do you sub to? Oh, nice one.
Oh boy.
Nice
What
question.
is that? The Beast, Man and Beast.
The Man and Beast is an
I love
amazing
that
channel.
It's so good.
Yeah. So check out Man and Beast, a very entertaining, well-produced channel.
It's so good.
Another one we really like is Bold and Bankrupt.
Yes.
Yeah, big inspiration for us. He made it so fast doing travel, and which is so hard.
And we watched him get big. Like when we found him like over a year ago doing these videos in India, travel videos in India. And he wasn't really that big right back then, but right now he's getting close to 1 million, views per video. So that I think is a cool thing about YouTube is you can watch people grow. Be like, hey, I remember finding that person when they had like 50 subs and all of a sudden they're at over 1 million. And he's one of those guys where he's just exploded over the past year. And he got famous doing these videos in India, but then he went over to Russia as well, Eastern Europe. And so I know that you enjoy that part.
I do, yeah. So we like him. What else do we watch all the time? For gear, we like Potato Jet.
We do, yeah. Potato Jet, Gene Nagata, who also did the same thing. He also just split out his channel. So he got really big doing gear, but if you look back, he tried to do travel, but didn't take off, but gear took off for him. So he just started a second vlog channel so that he could put, videos where he didn't have to work so hard on them and just have his fun travel vlogs there.
We have a Bold and Bankrupt watcher as well there in the channel.
Yes, he's so good.
Yeah, he's great. What else do we like to watch? We have a lot of inspirations on YouTube.
We do.
I watch a lot of history channels I won't bore you with. There's some really good stuff. There's a channel I like about construction, which I want to do more architecture and construction on our travel and documentary channel. I think that's a good one. So I think it's called B1M or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good channel.
Yeah, B1M is a really, really good channel about construction project, which is something we both like because we both really like architecture photography. High quality stuff there. And we can go on and on. We'll probably do this again, talk about our channels at our next Q&A because there's a lot. Let's see here. What skills did you learn in your first year?
Everything video related. We knew nothing about video when we started.
Yeah, so interestingly, we had 10 years of photography each, and that teaches you composition and exposition, which, by the way, is huge. And for us, because we come from that, it's second nature to immediately compose and expose a shot. We can do that in a second. However, once you start to add other dimensions like time, storytelling, audio, video becomes so much more difficult, and we had to focus on each and one of those things. At first, we were looking at, I guess the continuity was the problem, right? You shoot, and we being photographers would shoot disconnected things. And then you go to post and you're like, how do I even connect all this? So actually editing was the first thing we learned. Yeah.
And, there being two of us, we both have to get in there. Like, I think right now, each video is like one of us. I don't think we've really collaborated on a video with the editing side of things because it's a little hard to do that. So, each video is either me doing it or you doing it. And so by both of us taking a step into it, it's been good because as a shooter, I think you need to edit to realize where your clips are going to go, how it turned out when you're shooting them. So you learn a lot by shooting and editing.
Yeah, I would say immediately start editing. I waited a while. Susie did most of it at first.
That's why I was like, you eventually need to just edit because you're going to learn a lot once you edit.
Yeah. And later when I did start editing, it was just actually a really nice feeling. I love editing now. I use DaVinci Resolve and I love that software. It really opened it for me because I had tried Premiere and I had tried Final Cut and I disliked the way their user interfaces work. And user interface is what I make for a living, so I'm actually pretty particular, which is also why I like Fujifilm because it has the best user experience in camera world. Yeah, so learn to edit, learn sound, learn storytelling. That's really a lot of learning right there for 1 year. Let's see. Hi, Kai Monroe. Hi, internet guy. We have a question here. Can you imagine Apple doing a full frame camera?
I don't know if I can imagine Apple doing any camera.
Well, they have an iPhone.
Yeah, I was going to say, they are doing it on their phones, and neither of us do iPhone. I had an iPhone 3G, so way back in the day. Have you ever had an iPhone?
No, and I never will.
Okay. So we have Apple computers, but yeah, we're not into the phones. We're really sold on Samsung. We just love the Samsung cameras. And so actually the Galaxy S11 is coming out really soon, or it should be. It's on schedule, and it's your turn to get the phone.
Yeah,
So we'll see if we do that.
We have a comment from my mom about how good our videos will look on the TV. I bought them last year.
Oh, good.
Yes, so pro tip, all our stuff is 4K. We watch it on a HDR TV by Samsung, and it looks simply amazing that way. I don't bother watching YouTube on a phone or a computer anymore. Smart TV is the way to go with how well many channels are now produced. So it's a much better experience. We have here time-lapse video of building construction is interesting. We also agree with that.
Well, yeah.
Weren't you talking about buying a camera for that?
I really want to. Actually, so across the way, they're talking about tearing down this house and building new townhomes, which is very typical. It's happening all over Seattle. It happened in one of our old apartment buildings, so we've already been through this. So I'm not looking forward to the noise and how much obstruction is going to be, but it's super fascinating to watch. So yeah, I do want to maybe get a time-lapse camera to just point at that, that whole process, because I love the tear down phase. It's so crazy to watch them tear down a house. It's just amazing.
Yeah, some things actually once you learn, when you start learning time lapses, you realize there's a lot of opportunity. Many things don't happen that fast. However, if you see them over time, it looks amazing. And it also works the other way with slow motion, because some things happen too fast, especially when you go out in nature and do like birds and other animals. They are moving fast.
And it made us realize, because we watch a lot of nature documentaries, and so when you really look at that footage, you realize that even they're slow motioning it. It may not be 120, but it's all slowed down just slightly, because it happens so fast that if they were to show it in real time, you wouldn't be able to appreciate it.
That's right, and that's why 60p is actually amazing, which the X-T3 can do, and it lets you slow it down like twice or so. What is the right word for this? Half, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that. So it becomes twice slower than real, and that's just enough to get a lot more definition of something that's happening fast. So but the downside to that is 4K 60p is extremely large on your storage. So we're so screwed up with storage. We have like 15 hard drives, and we keep buying more. And so that's where all the YouTube money is going, for buying hard drives.
Yeah.
Let's see here. For YouTube, how many times do you post per week? What about the YouTube algorithm? So our goal is 1 to 2 a week, but now we have 2 channels, so we're trying to do that on both.
Yeah, and I think if you look at a lot of other YouTubers, besides the travel guys, do it more frequently because they're traveling and they constantly are making content.
And they need the money.
Right, yeah. But most gear channels, like everyone's at about 1 video a week. And I feel like that's about as much as we have time for, because a lot of other YouTubers, when you really start watching them and getting to know them, you realize a lot of them have day jobs too, that, YouTube is a side thing for them as well. So yeah, for most of us, 1 video a week is about as much as we can do, at least for now. It'd be great to do more than 1, but for now, 1 is good. I don't know if you have any insights about the algorithm, though.
The algorithm, I think, favors every day or every other day.
Well, yeah. Actually, yeah. And along with that, Casey Neistat is famous for being one of the first people on YouTube to do a daily vlog. And when he did that, his channel just exploded. So a lot of other people go down that route as well. So I think that's a testament to, ideally, you're doing 1 every day if you can. Yeah,
but it's so hard to be interesting if you're doing it every single day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you also cannot have a job. So
that is your job at that point.
Right. I am not a fan of the idea of being a starving artist, and it's going to take a long time to replace my income. So we can't do that. But we're trying to gradually get to the point where we can post almost every day. It's difficult. Let's see. Do you guys do drone work? I don't know if you spoke. Yes, in fact, the first video camera we bought was the DJI Mavic. and we still use it. We do drone work, not as much as we at first did, because now we have too many cameras. But we love the drone, and I've been meaning to buy a new drone. I'm actually waiting for the 3rd generation Mavics before I buy a new one, and we're going to double down on drone again. It's going to be pretty cool. Drones are quite fascinating. Funny thing, on that trip where we began doing video for YouTube in Italy on our honeymoon, we started our honeymoon a little early, and we went to the island of Capri, and then I crashed the drone that I was supposed to film the wedding with.
So we spent a whole day in Rome tracking down a drone. It took all day to find a new drone.
Yeah, it was so sad. It like hit a rock when I was going backwards, and it like just flipped the propeller a little bit, and it flipped on its back, and it fell on a rock way out there where nobody could reach it, and it died out there. It's probably still there somewhere. But we had to buy a second drone so we can shoot our wedding ceremony with it from the air, which was the whole idea, and we had to buy a second drone for that. But yeah, as soon as Mavic 3 is out, we're gonna get one and make a lot more drone videos. Let's see.
Your English is really good.
Thank you. Around the World says your English is really good. Did you learn in school? And what's the background? And Susie, your English is good too.
Great.
So fun fact, neither of us are born in the USA. I actually trained myself since I was 6 to move to the USA. So I started going to private school at age 6, where 5 days I did normal school, and my 6th day was private school for English lessons the entire day. So ever since 6, I have been studying English. And as soon as I was out of high school, I went to American college. So that's how I learned. And I've been in the USA almost 18 years, so almost half my life. So that's why I can speak okay.
You speak really well. Like when I met you, yeah, you had no like flaws or whatsoever. I was pretty amazed.
And you are from Korea, but
I've been here since I was 6 months old. So yeah, like English is definitely my native language. And I don't know, I mean, I know some Spanish, that's about it. But I don't know any Asian languages, which is really awkward when I go to Asia.
Right, they assume you know the language.
Do, yes, yeah.
They assume when I go to anywhere east of Hungary that I know the language. Like in Ukraine, I can actually pretend I know it until the 3rd sentence, and then they catch me. It would probably be the same if I went to Russia. Let's see. Subvid says, storytelling and video is my downfall. It's hard. It's really hard. Yeah. There's some channels out there you should watch to learn about that, especially the people that just go around with a little GoPro and pull it off. I'll be right back. You can talk about this.
Okay. Storytelling and video. Yeah, it is hard. And actually, we realized that too, because lately, especially with vlogging, you realize that you are not only the camera person filming, but you're also the producer. So you have to be crafting the story in your mind, and you're also the editor. So you have to wear a lot of different hats, and that makes video or storytelling and video really, really hard. But I would also say it's a lot better than, say, photography. And that's something that's really drawn me to video, because I've been doing photography for like over 10 years, you know, in a professional capacity. And I love photography. But something that bothers me about it is that photography is like one single instance, maybe multiple photos, but you know, you can only say so much in a photo, and you're also relying on your audience to, you know, look at it and assume or just, you know, pick up the same story that you're trying to tell. So I like that video. It's like a bunch of different photos that you put together, and it's a better story in that sense.
I don't know what you said, but to me, what really cracked storytelling for us was GoPro. Because you can move through things, and you move through a time window in which something's happening without cutting. And that's really, really important.
Hello from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have not been to Minneapolis.
I got snowed in there. My plane landed, and so much snow fell that the plane froze. And it took like an hour and a half to unfreeze it with chemical spraying on the wings.
Seen that before.
Yeah, the Midwest is pretty crazy. We like it there, though. I've been there how many times now to the Midwest? I've been to Ohio, Chicago twice, Wisconsin twice. And then, to me, places in Canada are just like the Midwest, like Toronto and so on.
I like Toronto a lot. It's one of my favorite cities.
Yeah, interesting area, very humid and very cold. Yeah. We have another comment here which says, you guys should collaborate. Yes, the more collaboration, the better. Well, we have an hour in.
Wow.
This was a lot more fun. We thought if 5 people joined, it would be good.
Right.
I think we maxed it like 15 or something, so that's a pretty good success in my book.
So we have maybe one more, then I can cut it off. Do you have a story from the footage you have, or shoot for a story you already have?
It's a really good question.
Ooh,
So
that's tough.
I personally let things unfold in front of me. I don't premeditate. I start with a theme, essentially. So, for example, I was just in Paris, and the first thing that caught my eye was the architecture. So I put that in my mind, and then I start going through it and either commenting or shooting at it and things like that. And then later you review whether you got enough to make a meaningful story out of that.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Like, I think we both are drawn to that type of video that is more in the moment, and you don't do a lot of pre-production, and you don't write a script out and have to stick to it. I don't like the idea of scripting things. I like the same thing of just like have an outline, have some basic topics, and then just say it, however you want to say it. Don't try to say it in a certain order because it really doesn't matter. So for our videos, we do it that way. If we're working with clients, it usually is a little bit more planned out ahead of time because it has to be more efficient that way.
Yeah, that's right. Clients will give you a shot list normally, and then they leave it on you to put it together. Sometimes they give an entire script, I guess.
Depends. Yeah, and actually, we'll do another video about this too, about working with clients, because we did that this past year, and it was our first time doing it, and it was a wide range of clients with different ways that they wanted to do things. But the way that I ideally want it is that I want a shot list. I want them to tell me ahead of time what it is that they expect, and then we can fill in the gaps from there.
Yeah, so often they don't know what they want. Right. That's the hardest situation.
So, it's our job too, as, video producers, to work with them and help them figure out what it is that they want. Do that before you start filming, because you don't want to do it as you're filming. And that just makes it a lot more efficient. Yeah.
And when it comes to the gear videos, that's actually a little different. I tend to do mine in one take off the top of my head when I do make them. But I think you premeditate more than that.
I have to, because you're better at it. I'm not so good at it when I'm doing technical things. So I always start with an outline. So yesterday, this is a good example. I wrote an outline that I'm going to publish as a blog post on Digital Photography School. But by writing that article first, it helps me organize my thoughts. And then when I do the video, I can, it's a lot easier to film it.
But so I've noticed all the ones that you premeditate and you write the article first and then you shoot them, they actually perform the best on our channel right now.
Yeah.
Like the ones you sit down and go over a list of points and so on.
It helps organize your thoughts. Otherwise, you just start filming and you're like, nothing is presented in an organized way. You forget what you've said, so you start repeating yourself, and then it's just a waste of time.
Yeah. However, some YouTubers out there, and gear in particular, come off so fake and scripted that it actually repels some people. And we get comments on our channel which they say, we like that you keep it in a way a little more raw, instead of trying to be like, oh, I'm high energy, I'm enthusiastic, let me hype you up.
I'd say everyone has their tastes, right? So I'm not knocking people that do that, because clearly they have an audience and people like that style. But we're trying a different style where we don't do that.
Yeah, we want to be a bit leveled and natural, because it's just more genuine in a way. You're not really hyping. And we are not also sponsored. A lot of people think we're sponsored because we tend to focus on certain products and talk about them a lot. However, we are not sponsored. We do things because we like them and they work for us.
Yeah. And we will do another video about that too, because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to sponsorship. But rule of thumb is that if you are sponsored, usually you have a contract and you have to say in your video that you're sponsored.
Yeah, that is right. Let's see. Hi from Sweden. Hi. We have not been to Sweden, but we will definitely get there eventually. How is it? We have, can't wait to see what's in store for 2020. I keep watching. Thank you very much to all our watchers and subscribers. It really means a lot to video creators, more than you can imagine, honestly.
And actually, so another thing too is that it's not only the subscription, but also just the like. So liking every video, commenting, all those things are actions that help our videos get better and help us as a channel.
It's true. Commenting is very valuable, because conversation starts, you get more views, and YouTube itself treats you more favorably. So that's really good. Will Lover says, hi guys, congrats on 10,000. Thank you very much. It was a lot of work, actually. I don't think I've ever worked on anything other than my career and learning English harder than I've worked on this.
Yeah, I actually have to agree. Like, for being a side project, which it was for a long time, a personal project, like this is the one that has been the most fun and has had the most longevity and the most promise for us to keep investing our time into it.
We have hi from Malaysia. Malaysia is actually a country we have been to.
Yes. That was a lot of fun. We went to Kuala Lumpur and Malacca. I like
No.
Malacca.
Yeah, that was fun. We went to many Asian countries in 1 month. We did 5 locations, I think, 5 different countries. Malaysia was good, very nice place. A little bit scary once you get towards the jungle and there are too many poisonous things. But we went into the caves with the big statue.
Oh, that was fun.
That was really fun. Amazing photography. And that's silly. But
Okay.
so Malaysia is great for photography. However, they told us in the cave that we went to, there were like 30 kinds of poisonous snakes or something like that.
That was a little terrifying.
Yeah.
Hi from Granville Island. Oh, that's really close by. I love Vancouver.
Yeah.
I love Granville.
We go to Vancouver at least twice a year. I was there just a few months ago with my parents. We did some shopping from Granville Island and we got some new coffee mugs with Native
Birds.
American design of birds like a hummingbird and another kind. And we love Vancouver. We're there all the time. And we still have ski passes for Cypress Mountain that we need to use.
Oh,
Yeah.
we should use those.
Yeah, they're in our pockets in our jackets.
Okay, then.
That's right. No to the weird request. Sorry about that. And
That is weird.
Alexander Watson says hi from Minnesota. Another Minnesota viewer. That is
I
interesting.
need to go to Minnesota.
I guess
Not right now.
we're
but...
big in Minnesota. We have 2 live stream watchers from Minnesota. That's quite amazing. I think that's the most of any location so far.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to Minnesota. I guess they have a lot of lakes and forests, which is a favorite of ours. But I've also heard the mosquitoes are really horrible.
That's scary.
Yeah, we're for some reason very delicious to mosquitoes.
Yeah, mosquitoes love both of us.
Not cool. Not cool. Okay, unless there's any more questions, I guess we can wrap this up. Yeah. We have 1 minute for last questions.
But yeah, in the meantime, yeah, thanks again for watching our videos, for tuning into the live stream. We weren't sure how this was going to go, but I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, so Susie was pretty nervous about being live on camera for like an hour. I think she did well. What do you guys think?
I didn't think it was going to be an hour, but yeah, this ended up going pretty well.
Wow, that's a super chat, I imagine.
Oh.
A $5 super chat. Thank you for supporting us, if this is what I think, which I think it is.
The Hero 8 Black, really worth the upgrade from the Hero 7. I actually use my 7 for Patreon vlogs. I like to be able to live stream. We actually have not live streamed from our GoPros, but that is a good point, and we could do that in the future. We
totally should, except right now it's dark in Seattle, so there's not enough light for a GoPro.
Well, we got to go skiing or something.
Yeah,
we won't have connection up there.
Well, 4G. We'll talk about that. However, the actual question, 7 versus 8, is it worth the upgrade? Is a really interesting question. I have my opinion. You may have yours. Which one should we go with first?
I feel like we might have the same opinion, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you mine. I think it's totally worth it. And the reason I think it's worth it is because they give you higher quality video. They went to 100 megabits on the 4K video. And they also give you 4K linear, which actually gives your GoPro the ability to do amazing B-roll when you're shooting forward, not in your face necessarily. So you can actually pull off amazing photo or video shoots with GoPro only now. And when you do 4K linear now in 100 megabits, there's not much distortion in the fisheye effect. And you can go forward and it looks 100% like a gimbal. Really, like you don't need the gimbal anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I would say if you already have a 7, it's obviously a little bit harder to, do you also want to get an 8? But then you can always sell the 7. So we will do another video. I have actually a couple of video ideas about how we sell our gear and trying to do something engaging with that, because it is really easy to both buy and sell used gear. And we're about to do that with some Fujifilm cameras. So we'll try to walk you through that whole process. But yeah, along his lines, if you really want the quality, I think the 8 is worth the upgrade. I guess my only hesitation would be with these media mods and all of these extra things that GoPro's coming out with, because we don't know the quality yet. We don't know how good they are. The fact that they're delayed by a little bit might make you a little bit like, oh, maybe that means that there's something wrong with them. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the big question mark that everybody has is, are these media mods going to be worth it? Because that's extra money to buy those things and to get your microphone jack and all those things. And so Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say again, for quality, it's worth the upgrade. But if you are expecting it to be the full-fledged vlogging camera that they were initially promising when they were advertising, we're not sure yet how that's going to turn out and if that's worth the upgrade.
Yeah, but there's a big flaw in the 8, which is that the screen protector, the actual glass on the GoPro, is now fixed in, and you cannot change it by yourself. So if you break it, which is easy, or scratch it even, you're gonna have to send your GoPro back, and that's crazy.
Yeah, there's that, and then the fact that that side door, when you want to access the USB-C port, is also leaving your battery and your SD card exposed.
It also flies out, like it doesn't
yeah.
stay in, so it's so
I don't
easy
like
to
that.
lose the side door, and then it's no longer waterproof.
So there's a little like weird design changes that they made with the 8 that are everyone's not very happy with.
But the image quality is much better.
Yes,
much better. And the stabilization is like next level at this point. It's much better as well. Yeah, pretty incredible. Oh, birds are singing. Speaking of Vancouver, do go to the library. Yeah, we like the library.
Yep.
Yeah, especially on a rainy day, we go there a lot to just enjoy the indoors. We have another comment. Congrats on the 10K and keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching the videos that we put out. I think this is a good place to wrap it up.
I think so.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll do this again when enough time passes and we have new topics.
But yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you in another video.
And we got our first super chat. Amazing. Thank you. All right, guys. See you next time. We'll be releasing a video pretty soon.